Let's get to some AFC South action. Indianapolis Colts 31, Tennessee Titans 28. Colts moved to 7-5. It was an overtime victory for the Colts here. Titans lose their first game in Nashville all season.
Ever. Yeah.
Killing my stat here. And I lost this game because you told me to go with the Nashville thing. I was talking myself into the Colts the whole time.
I mean, I just wanted you to stick with your own convictions.
Yeah, I could do that. Titans fall to 4-8 here. This game was wild, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I said a couple games were kind of intoxicated yesterday. This was one of them. There's a lot going on in this game.
Yeah, the game was nuts. It made no sense.
So the Titans kicked off the scoring with a 22-yard run by Derrick Henry, and the Colts came right back, 36-yard touchdown. I guess we could just jump right to the end. I'm not going to go through each score. But it was like Will Levis at the beginning of this game. Every time I looked up, he was throwing the ball 50 yards down the field. Mm-hmm. He had that play where he fumbled in the throwing motion, immediately sprinted and picked it up, ran it back for what could have been a 50-yard touchdown, but they just called him down.
Right.
He got into a sideline spat with DeAndre Hopkins. And I was like, man, in the first 10 minutes of the game, all this stuff happened. And I tweeted that out, and somebody's like, oh, you really hate Will Levis. I'm like, no, this is just fun. There's a lot going on.
He also had a Levis copter play.
Yeah, and he also tried to jump over somebody.
Which was madness, by the way.
Fired up, man.
In this world where the NFL is trying to make it a capital crime to touch quarterbacks, you've got Levis out here for a random 3rd and 8 or whatever early in the game, he decides to go John Elway on it and launch himself clean over two different players, gets blasted in the air, spins around, clunks on the ground, and is then getting up pointing for the first down, flexing on it, whoa! You're dude, simmer. We got a whole game of this. It's only against the Colts. Relax.
Oh, man. Levis was just fun in this game. And the other thing, look, I know they lost. We're just talking about the players here. But he also he throws the ball with some zip, man. You can see easy carry on the ball from Will Levis. He had back-to-back throws. He had a deep out, just boom, right there. And then the bang 8. You just saw his velocity on a couple throws. He had a couple weird misses in there, but again, I know they lost, but I think there were definitely some encouraging signs by Levis. I do feel like we might be entering this special world of Levis's volatility, Sam Howell's volatility. Neither guy really at that Josh Allen level, but some Josh Allen light levels of volatility and fun. That's what Levis kind of reminded me of yesterday. Among the other, I don't even know where to start here, but let's go end of the game. It's in overtime. We'll work our way backwards because there's a lot of crazy stuff to get there. In overtime, the Titans get the ball. Where did the scoring go? What happened here? I've lost my
score. So
the box score that I'm looking at stops when it's 22-17.
That's not helpful.
Do you know what broke it?
The
blocked punt followed by the pick 2.
Right.
That completely broke.
Well, so you need to start with the blocked punts.
NFL Jesus site.
You need to start with the blocked punts because that ends up being the butterfly effect that starts this whole thing, cascading.
All right, well, break it down, Sam. It was awesome. What a turn of events.
Yeah. So was it the first blocked punt? Yeah, the first blocked punt was returned for a touchdown, right? So blocked punt, touchdown for the Colts. And then they go for 2, and Amani Hooker gets a pick 2 off the back of this, right? And then the second one, the Colts block a second consecutive punt. The second one, they got them with the Patriots guy motioning in from the sideline thing. The one that were like, you never see that again. That's not going to work. It's going to be off a specific tick that the guy has, so they can start his run. Well, they got him with that. The guy motioned in. Poor old Ryan Stonehouse was just getting annihilated by these blocked punts because they were so conclusive victories by the punt blocking team that it wasn't close. It's not like he's getting caught at the end of this. They're he's got a linebacker or a DB launching himself into his leg as he's trying to kick this thing. So the second one, I don't think he even connected with the ball. I think the guy's stand leg was taken out before they even kicked the ball. So Ryan Stonehouse is now down and out. So the Titans, A, don't have a punter, Nick Folk has to punt for them later in the game, the kicker. And B, they don't have a holder anymore. So they get a touchdown and miss the point after because Ryan Tannehill is now the new holder. Now, the hold looked okay. You know, the laces weren't spun all the way to the front. I don't know how much that matters. The ball was slightly tilted. I don't know how much that matters.
It's too vertical.
Right.
It's a little too vertical for me.
Either way,
But I don't know.
They missed the kick, coincidentally, in the first hold where Ryan Stonehouse was not holding the ball. And that meant that instead of taking a 1-point lead, it's tied up. And now we head to overtime. And then you get all the craziness in overtime.
Yeah, so I was trying to get to just seeing the first drive that Tennessee had. They got the ball. They go 48 yards in 10 plays. Took up more than half of the overtime period to kick the 46-yard field goal. So they did manage to actually kick a successful field goal with Ryan Tannehill on the hold. So Titans were up 3 in overtime. But the Colts came right back, man. It was Alec Pierce game in this one. Huge play. How long was that play? To set up the game winner. I had that somewhere. Good work by me. But Gardner Minshew comes right back, hits Alec Pierce on a deep ball, and then game-winning touchdown to Michael Pittman.
Yeah, I mean, Alec Pierce had 2 deep bombs in this game. He ends up with like 3 catches for 100 yards or something crazy. Michael Pittman has 100 yards as well, but his come on 11 catches, including the final one, the touchdown, which is a really nice play by the Colts. They like stacked those guys, had a release where Pittman kind of goes out first and then shoots back in behind the 2 DBs that have both kind of taken the inside release guy. They were sort of staggered in terms of depth. They were set up to defend this well, but then they both went in the same direction, and Pittman just sort of loops in behind them and is just wide open the back of the end zone.
It was actually a very similar concept to what the Titans had used on their first touchdown. They didn't run the fake flat, but they basically ran a high-low 2 ins to score their first touchdown in the tight red zone. So Colts, that's what they ran for a 4-yard touchdown to Michael Pittman. So it was a 55-yarder by Gardner Minshew to set things up for the 4-yard touchdown for the game winner for Michael Pittman. So yeah, it was just a crazy back and forth game. Minshew had turned it over early again. I thought, if you're a Tennessee fan, there was a lot of things that were actually encouraging. I thought the run game was excellent with Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears. It was probably the best run blocking effort by the Titans in this one. But man, the Colts, they're still hanging tough here. And, there's been a lot of backup quarterbacks around the league, and the Colts are, Shane Steichen deserves a ton of credit. What they're doing with Gardner Minshew, I mentioned a couple weeks ago, they're kind of running a lot of the same offense that they would with Anthony Richardson. Obviously, Minshew's not getting 10 carries a game like Richardson probably would, but they're running a lot of the same stuff and finding ways to win. It was, impressive effort by the Colts. Needed the blocked punt and everything.
Yeah,
but,
you look at the box score, and it's a game that the Titans should have won. And part of the reason, probably the reason they didn't, was because consecutive blocked punts is generally a really catastrophic thing from an offense. The other thing, like the Colts' defensive line for a couple of weeks in a row has really shown up and been a big part of winning the game. They had 29 pressures as a defense in this game. Samson Ebukam had another game where he had multiple sacks. That's 2 in a row for him. Kwity Paye, friend of the show, had a great game himself. DeForest Buckner,
yep.
Right? Tyquan Lewis. Like, they had multiple players. 4 different guys had at least 4 pressures and at least a sack in the game. Huge impact on that Titans offense.
Yeah, so Minshew finishes with over 300 yards passing, and it was a lot of those chunk plays. Michael Pittman with another high-volume game, 11 catches for 105, but Alec Pierce with those 3 catches for 100, as you'd mentioned. Some big plays out of the Colts to pull off the victory. So they're 7-5, man, just like the Steelers, right in the thick of it. Technically, as of right now, they're one of 4 teams that are 7-5. Steelers, Browns, Colts, and Texans. Colts would be the 3rd team out of that 4 if the playoffs started today. Number 7 seed, Colts. So they're hanging tough, man. They're playing some fun football in Indy. For the Titans, they fall to 4-8, first home loss, as I mentioned, and they're looking at a top 10 draft pick.
The Titans, by the way, being able to execute punts with a kicker does bring me back to this question of why can't the punter kick? If the kicker can punt, surely the punter can kick.
I don't know, man.
And it's not like you go, well, he's the
Ask
holder.
McAfee.
He's the
Go
holder.
on
That can't happen.
Go
Well,
on McAfee's show and ask him.
they're like, if he's the holder, that can't happen. Well, apparently it can because Tannehill can just go in there and hold the ball. Now, okay, the kick was missed, but the hold looked okay.